Hi, I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com, and this video is about creative real estate versus traditional investing. The goal is that you'll hear about the differences, the pros, the cons, where you fit in and or where you'd like to fit in onto this spectrum. Now, to be very transparent from the very beginning, I am more on the creative real estate side, mostly because that's where I got started. Where I got started, I was homeless, and so I didn't really have much of a choice, and you're going to learn a little bit about that as far as the differences. So let's get into that. I've got a list here because it may be a little bit faster than me trying to remember off the top of my head, but here we go. So let's take a look what a traditional investing or a traditional investor looks like. They buy investment properties on the MLS. So they find their deals by talking to a real estate agent. The real estate agent goes out and finds them a property. They're going to probably make offers on properties and maybe get into a bidding war. So they may make offers at auctions or foreclosure auctions. And they even may buy properties from wholesalers or people trying to flip properties to them. So that means they're going to need money. They're going to need money for earnest money deposit checks so they can get the property under contract. They may need a down payment. They're probably going to need to borrow money from a bank. And if you get a bank loan, as you know, you basically have to give the underwriters your proverbial firstborn child because they want everything from you. And so you're also going to have significant competition because other people are going to be trying to make offers on the same properties as you. You'll probably make a lot of offers to get a few accepted. You've probably heard that phrase before. You make a lot of offers, a few of them get accepted. And you're constantly looking at deals as a traditional investor, either in person or on the computer, just looking through deal after deal after deal. You're trying to find just those rare few that fit into your numbers, and you're usually negotiating deals based on price. That's the traditional way. Now let's talk about the creative way. What makes that different? What does that look like? Well, with creative investing, you are finding deals by marketing for motivated sellers. And so that means you're dealing directly with the seller. And so the negotiations you may do, you may make multiple offers on the same property. You're typically not looking at tons of deals because the only deals you actually physically look at are the ones that you're going to actually get under contract. And as far as buying properties long term, as opposed to getting a loan, you may be taking over someone's loan subject to. You may be doing owner financing where the sellers being the bank. What else? You're going to try to turn every lead into money, every motivated seller. Even the bad ones you may assign to a real estate agent and get a small referral fee or marketing fee. You're going to negotiate deals based on price, but also terms. Terms may be better than price. And you're rarely, if ever, going to be using down payments. You're not going to be qualifying for a loan. Earnest money is usually minimal when you're dealing directly with sellers, so it can be as little as $10 or $1. Those are most of my deals. Most of our students' deals are like that. And so when you work directly with sellers, you're typically not dealing with agents in the middle of your deal. Although you may want to work with agents when you sell the property because you may want to create bidding wars when you sell the property, just not when you're buying it. Okay, so those are the two ways you go about real estate investing. You got the creative and the traditional, and that's what they look like. Now let's talk about the pros and cons, because I told you I was biased toward creative, but it doesn't mean that traditional isn't great as well. So here are a couple of things that are powerful about traditional. Number one, when you go the traditional route, you can buy a lot of properties quickly. Okay, so we'll put traditional over here. So you could buy hundreds, thousands of homes quickly. So I'm going to put quickly here. What's been going on in the marketplace recently is Wall Street, hedge funds, private equity funds, they're buying real estate right now in bulk, both foreclosures and listed properties. So they can do that because they're going the traditional route. They got lots of money. Now that is the con. The con of traditional is you got to have money or the ability to borrow money. And so that usually takes money because you have income, you have a job, you can get a bank to give you a loan. Another thing that's great about traditional is you can get long-term deals, long-term holds. You can get those at a cheap discount, and here's why. If you're negotiating with a seller and you say to them, okay, I would like for you to be the bank, they may say, okay, I'll agree to that. I'll agree to owner financing, but I want a high price. But if you give me cash today, I'll give you it at a lower price. So you can get long-term holds, long-term rentals cheaper the traditional route because you can offer all cash to that seller or the bank's cash if you're borrowing money. Now, a third benefit is that you can get other deals at super cheap prices when we talk about absolute auctions. Absolute. Absolute means that they're going to sell the property at that auction no matter what. And you can get a great deal on those because if you're the only one making an offer and you're bringing, as the phrase says, cash on the barrelhead, if you're bringing money to an auction like that and you're the only one there or one of the few, you can get a steal. So there are some huge benefits to the traditional side. But like I said, it requires money. Now, some people get over that by actually getting private investors to give private money to them. And that works, but I tell you, most people can't pull that off. That is a significant challenge to get other people to give you their hard-earned money to invest in real estate. It can happen, but it's not very likely. Okay, now let's talk about creative. On the creative side, the main benefit, of course, is you can get rich, you can build a fortune, build wealth, really with very little or no cash or credit. There's a little bit of money involved. Now, the big con of creative is education. If the big con of traditional is money, this is education. What I mean by that is there's not only the cost to acquire good education. You get what you pay for in life, and so you're going to have to pay some money. There's going to be a cost of some type for good education, but you also have to find the right education. There's a lot of bad education out there, right? So there's maybe a trial and error to find the right people that give you the right advice. And you're also going to need a mentor or a coach who can walk you through this experience. And finally, and probably the most difficult for most people, even if they have the right education and they pay for the right mentor and they've got the right education in place, they still have to follow through, take the time, take the action to learn that education, right? So creative does have a barrier, and it is education. And education is not just learning it, it's getting it, and then it's actually following through and actually getting it inside your head. Whereas traditional, yes, there's some education required here, yes, but it's not rocket science. I mean, the formula is real simple. If you got lots of money, just go hire a real estate agent, have them make tons and tons of offers. You'll get at least one of them accepted, hopefully. You get it accepted, you fix it up and resell it, or you rent it out. I mean, that's really what it, and then repeat. I mean, that's really what the model is. I mean, it's not rocket science. Whereas this is very detailed, very creative, so there's a lot of education involved, a lot of details involved. Okay, so if you can do this thing without cash or credit necessarily, I mean, I say no cash, no credit. I should say very little here, because there's probably going to be a little bit of a cost. The cost of education, the cost depending on how you market for motivated sellers. One of the nice things is there's no competition here. There's tons of competition on this side. And this competition actually helps a creative investor. A lot of traditional investors are panicking, and the sky is falling because Wall Street is now buying properties. So it's bumping them out of the game. Well, creative investors are okay with Wall Street involved because we'll just flip the properties to Wall Street. That's fine. The more traditional investors come into the market, creative people just flip it to them. That's fine. They're happy with that. But traditional investors do get squeezed. So there is no competition. Now, if the traditional investors learned what the creative people were doing, then these people would be in trouble because really their barrier to entry is education. So if these people learn what this is all about and they got the money, oh boy, right? That's a real recipe for challenges. Okay, so there's no competition in comparison, although there's going to be a little bit here and there. And then what I also like about creative is that this is going to be steady, whereas this is going to be up and down. Creative real estate deals are created by motivated sellers. Motivated sellers are created by life circumstances external to real estate, but they happen year in, year out for life. And that is divorce, illness, death, financial problems, job transfer, upgrading, downsizing. I mean, all of these circumstances in life that force somebody to have to sell their home, that's what creates these creative deals. And they're going to happen like clockwork, whether the market's good or bad, year after year after year. It is sad to know that divorce happens year after year after year, but it does. And so these are steady deals coming through consistently. Whereas this is more of an ebb and flow. It's more of an up and down, And the reason why is when the market's down like it is right now, there's tons of deals. But now Wall Street's getting involved, so it's kind of squeezing that. But you know, when the market's booming, there's a lot less of those deals. Does that make sense? Whereas here, this is going to be steady. You learn this business, you'll have a steady business for the next 50 years or 100 years, however long your life, right? So that's the steadiness of this business. Those are the three things I love about it. All right, so where do you fit in? Where do you want to fit in? I will say that now that I have the finances to be able to be one of these people, you know, back from when I was homeless, this was really my only option, unless somebody was going to give me private money. But the problem is when you're homeless, then nobody believes in you. Why am I going to give this guy money? And how does he know what he's doing? He's living out of his truck. So I had to go this route. But now that I can do this, I still choose to go here. I'm not saying it's better. I'm saying I choose to go here because, number one, like when it comes to long-term holds, I will pay more money for the property not to have my name on a loan, not to put all my cash into a deal. Even though it's a better deal to go this route, I'm still going to stay this route. And the second thing is you probably learned from another video, when it comes to flipping properties, what I like to do is I like to flip the properties before I fix them up. I like to flip them to the traditional investors. And so I still make plenty of money, but those are the kind of things that I like to do. That doesn't mean it's better or worse. And so I like your comments. I like your feedback. Where do you fit in? What do you like better? Where do you think the better angle is on the business? And thanks so much for putting a comment at the bottom of this video. I'm Phil Pustiowski with FreedomMentor.com, and this was Creative Real Estate versus Traditional Investing. Thanks for watching.